Good morning, football fans. We are back with another edition of Free Picks for Monday Night Football, where last week we brought in some cash. If you remember last Monday Night Football, Saints, Chiefs, I had a nice little three-man free pick that was put out and cashed. Also hit a 4 out of 5 on Sleeper as well. That was pushed out to my winnable. And then yesterday, Sunday night or not Sunday night football, Sunday slate, we had some madness go down with our free slips smacking. So we had 3 out of 3 for 5 units, and then 4 out of 4 for 10 units. So that's 15 units right there, just from following my free plays that were posted in Winnable. Obviously, there's some losses to go with that. Like, I'm not gonna lie about that. I can show you through it, but want to just highlight some of the wins that I got, and then Sunday Night Football. Here's some of the losses that I'm talking about. So the Chase Brown late game heroics just killed my soul there, and really he's the reason that this slip also missed too. In my video I mentioned that I didn't think that Chase Brown had taken over Zach Moss as like the lead back yet, and I was completely wrong. Snap count wise, it hadn't happened yet, but clearly that's what we saw on the screen, and that's such a whiff now knowing what that game looked like. But overall, the reads of the game, we had pushed out a 6-man free slip that overall I liked the reads again. Here's the reads right here. So we had the Slayton catches, the Jamar fantasy score. This one, if he gets a touchdown, it's there. That's what in hindsight, I don't love that play. I just don't think a lot of people would have liked to see Jamar under, but especially after his week last week. But he had a good game, but it's like without a touchdown, he's not going to get that. So Chase Brown receiving, he got like 3 or 2 catches to start the game. So I was actually pretty happy with this. He got one late that I thought he was going to cover, didn't get it. Tyrone couldn't get one loose. Overall, good reads. He got some usage. I think I should have just played his receiving yards, but we move forward. Overall, happy with reads, with the research that we're doing with Line Star, with Player Prop Shop, with Football Guys, and then looking ahead at Monday Night Football, we are going to be looking at the Bills versus Jets. I found 4 plays just this morning from looking at some game logs and some verses, and to figure out where there may be some cracks in the defense that we could take advantage of. And the first couple that I found, and one of them is more just a, I guess, kind of intuition play, and that's going to be the Aaron Rodgers pass attempts. We got to think about kind of what's happening in the landscape of the Jets, and that is that Robert Saleh got fired. He's been passing more, so now that Saleh is fired and Hackett isn't calling plays, I think Rodgers is going to be in a lot more control of kind of the line of scrimmage and what he gets to do. So I think we're going to see him sling it. And if we go look at the game logs with quarterbacks versus Buffalo, we're seeing a lot of pass attempts from people that throw the ball. The Tua and Thompson game, that doesn't really count, but if you combine those, that's a lot. Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, they just ran over them. We saw Derrick Henry run, but then Stroud, that was a competitive game. So in the competitive games, we've seen the ball being thrown. So I see that being no different from Aaron Rodgers, who's been just slinging it lately. And if they're down a lot, like they were in Minnesota, they're going to throw it. Even in bad weather, like in Denver, they're going to throw it. So locking in Aaron Rodgers' pass attempts, at home, I think they're going to try to create some offense that they just have not had. Looking ahead, I'm going to pair that with the Breece Hall over receiving yards. I've seen targets be something that you could target. That's funny, but and not just based on the last trend, but just based on the projections. So if I go to Breece here, this is a Line Star. If you've never used a tool like this, you've got to, if you're really trying to be something in sports betting, you got to have a tool like this up your sleeve. So what you're seeing is their Line Star projection, their pick. So they're actually projecting for 5.5 for just over. And they're telling me how much of an edge that is. And then they're giving me a reason why. They're giving 8 targets per game to running backs. One I really liked here is they're giving 170 rush and reception yards per game. That's 27. So if there's somewhere to go against this Buffalo defense, it's the running back. And I noticed when I looked at the running backs versus Buffalo, not a lot of huge running games except for that Derrick Henry explosion. But looking at the receiving yards, 33 with James Conner, who's not that much of a receiving back. A-Chain, we know what he can do in the receiving game. Justice Hill, and then Dare Ogunbowale for the Texans. So I'm seeing some receptions here. We know Brees is proficient as a receiver. So I'm going to pair those together. I think really the ball is going to be thrown a lot to Brees, to Garrett, and then Alan Lazard. He's still hanging around. So I think everyone's just going to get peppered with targets. It's going to be a quick game. Keep the offense moving. Let's see how it goes. So for my last two on the Bill side, I actually am going Dalton Kincaid under 39.5 receiving yards. If you look at tight ends versus New York Giants, nobody has crossed this line except for George Kittle, and he did it by a yard. He got 4 catches for 40 yards, where no one else has eclipsed that. And Dalton Kincaid has had somewhat of a rough season. Lately, he's been picking it back up. I think some of that has to do with getting more targets recently. So we started off with 2, 4, 5. He's gotten 7 and 6 lately. I don't know. This Jets defense and this linebacker core is pretty strong. I think they're going to be able to lock him down. So on the flip side of that, with the Jets having a good secondary, good linebacking core, I think Josh Allen's going to have to start to put on more of the cape and play some more hero ball that he hasn't been doing lately. And I think that comes through the form of rush attempts. We also get the added benefit of if he kneels down, those count. So little 2-1 there, but I do think he's just going to have to bite the bullet. There's going to be some coverage. There's going to be good coverage, so he's not going to have maybe just wide open receivers. He's going to have to take off and run. So those are my free plays. I want to thank you all for having us cross the 100 subscriber mark. But I will say I looked at a statistic that only 90% of people that are viewing my videos are subscribed, that are not subscribed. So that's staggering. That means that 90% of you need to click subscribe and like this video and comment below and get this community going. I appreciate it. I hope to see you in my comments. I hope to see you in my winnable, getting some of these free pick wins that we are picking up here. Let's win big tonight. I'm going to post more plays all throughout the day on my winnable. So link is in the description where you can get all those sent to you for free. All right, guys, let's win some money.